Hello, hello, hello. I hope you are enjoying your lunch, dinner, breakfast as per your time zone. On behalf of Product Drive and User Palette, I welcome you all to the summit. Hi, I'm Aditi Gupta, and today I'm going to talk about a topic which is very near and dear to me. Product growth is a journey and not a destination. So let's jump into it. Before we start, here's a bit about me. I started my career back in 2011. A fun fact about me is that back in the day, I was a STEM geek. I actually did my undergrad in sciences, but quickly realized that I could not spend my entire life in a lab. And I also was working part time as a content writer during my undergrad. So the next step for me was to do my MBA. I majored in marketing, and since then, I haven't looked back. I spent the first half of my career working in digital marketing, and the second half in product management, focused on growth and retention. My career spans three countries. I started my career in India, then I worked in Dubai for about 4 years. For the past 3 years, I'm located in Canada. Outside of work, I'm an amateur calligrapher, something I picked up in quarantine. I'm also a vegan, so if ever you're looking for vegan recipes, please hit me up. My session will be divided into three parts. In the first section, I will talk about the role of growth product managers in the different stages of product lifecycle. Then I will take you through the 6 growth levels and talk about some examples to show you some best practices around achieving them. Lastly, I will leave you with some tips and tricks which I have used in my work for creating and implementing successful growth roadmaps. So let's get started. The role of product growth professionals and growth professionals is to de-risk the product roadmap by experimentation and getting customer validation early on in the product lifecycle. This is generally during the pre-product market fit stage. This stage can be defined as the stage at which the the product does not have concrete use cases and there are only a few handful of customers. Or this also might be when launching a new feature or a new experiment. Growth folks are also heavily involved in the scale phase of the product lifecycle. What this stage means is when the product market fit for the product has been achieved, there are a large number of early adopters, and the role of the growth product folks at this stage would be to increase that customer base and retain the customers who are coming down the funnel. In the next few slides, I will take you through the 6 growth levers which are involved in this stage. My second section talks about product growth levers. There are 6 growth levers which are required for sustainable customer growth, increase in ARR, as well as reduction in customer churn. In this section, I will take you through all these levers one by one and give you examples for each lever. For simplicity's sake, I will be sharing examples from B2B SaaS space for all of these levers in this presentation, but in some shape or form, these could also be used for e-commerce, fintech, and marketplace products. The first lever is top funnel discovery. What this means is a user is able to find your product when they are looking for a product or a solution. Now, let's dive a little bit into what this means. Generally, top funnel awareness is all about how your customers find your product or your service. There are different stages, or I would say different channels through which they get to know about your product. This could be content marketing, SEO, paid media, email marketing, or digital events, in-person events, which are not happening today, or PR activity. Growth professionals or product growth professionals may or may not be involved at this stage. But generally, if they are, they would be supporting SEO as well as email marketing and paid marketing for optimizing landing pages. What this means is the traffic which is coming from all the different channels, growth professionals or product growth professionals work on optimizing these landing pages. The KPIs to track these landing pages would be visits per landing page, what is the bounce rate, clicks on the CTA, or the number of leads generated from the landing page. Some of the ways that product managers or growth professionals optimize landing pages is by reducing bounce rate or increasing the conversion on the clicks or the number of leads. Here are some learnings of mine which I'd like to share. By running experiments and analyzing heat maps, one thing that I've realized, especially related to landing pages, is that you lose 75% of your traffic after the first fold. Hence, I would suggest that you put mostly all the important CTAs and important content in the first fold, and everything which might be more information about the product or SEO related content on the second or third fold. But again, always test what's working for your product, what's working for your company. And this also might differ based on your geography. One of the tools which has really helped me figure this out is Hotjar. I'm not selling it here, but Lucky Orange is another one. But I would definitely recommend using some kind of tool which gives you heat maps. Product sign up is the second lever. This is defined as the first time a user shows interest in your product. This is generally for SaaS companies. It's signing up for a free trial, a premium subscription, or opening up an account. Now, I will share some examples of companies which have done this sign-up process for a free trial or premium offering extremely seamless. The first is, for example, from Crazy Egg. The only thing they need to create a sign-up a free trial is email ID and password. So the pro tip here would be make the sign-up process extremely easy and quick for the customers. And the same trend has been seen across some industry leading SaaS products like Shopify, HubSpot, and another great example from Dropbox, where you can integrate your sign-up process with Google, Facebook, so you allow a single click sign up. The third lever is product onboarding. Personally, I feel product onboarding is the most underrated lever. We spend a lot of money and I would say resources concentrating on acquisition, but if we do not onboard customers well, they will not stick around. With that, let's see what product onboarding really means. I define it as the stage at which once the user signs up for a product, a user is able to navigate the product and get to the solution they were looking for. Now I will share a few examples of how some companies are doing it and what best practices can be derived from them. The first would be whenever a customer signs up for a product and I would say enters your product experience, reintroduce the benefits of the product and help them navigate to those benefits or use cases. The second would be create a guided tour within your application to help them get to their use case or complete a circle, or I would say complete the task flow, which will take them to the solution they were looking for. Another tip would be to create customized journeys for your customers based on the activity they have done within the app. The activity of a user who logs in the first time might be really different from the activity they have done it for the second or the third time login user. So always think about whenever you design your customer journey, differentiate it based on the number of login, the usage pattern. Is the user a super user or a light user? That will really help your users to get value from your product. The next lever is product activation. After your user comes in down the funnel, signs up, goes through the entire acquisition process, this stage is defined the stage at which a user is able to successfully perform the task they first signed up for. This is generally done through a checklist feature. This checklist comprises of a number of tasks a user needs to complete in order to get value from your product. Here, I have shown an example of how UserPilot uses its checklist feature to activate its customers. Now, let's talk about product engagement. Product engagement is the stage at which a user comes back to your product repeatedly. This is a continuous process, and this can be achieved by sending customer newsletters, updates about new features and product benefits, sharing how-to guides, best practices, and customizing in-product and email notification based on customers' activity and inactivity. Here's an example of how companies reward their customers for activity within their product. These examples are from LinkedIn Learning and Grammarly. And this is another example how customers engage with their how companies engage with their customers when they are not active. And when we talk about continuous engagement, this is how Dropbox communicates with its users about its latest features. And
And another example of how an, a phone application tells them about what activity they've done, how many uh, downloads have they made in the last 1 month, just to keep them engaged with the product. The last lever is product retention. I define product retention as the stage at which the user finds continuous value in your product and is willing to pay for it. Here are a few examples of how you can inform your customers about renewal and reinforce the benefits your product provides. This is from Squarespace, where they inform them about the price of the renewal as well as the date of renewal. Another from Delta, where they show cost saving benefit as well as the usage of the product, which reinforces the benefit of the product in a customer's mind. Another one is where they offer discounts or upgrade offers for a customer to stay loyal with them, as well as increase their wallet share. Before we go on to our last section, I wanted to bring up this slide to show you all the growth levers again, which we just went through. This brings me to my last section for this presentation, which is all about creating a growth roadmap. Once you have learned and understood your role as a growth professional, gone through the research and all the levers, you now need to prioritize what are you going to do next, as well as get buy-in from stakeholders. This section will talk about how you can do that. Firstly, interview your customers and incorporate your customer insights into your roadmap. Talk to your stakeholders, get a pulse on their expectations, as well as read any product documentation that you can get hold of. It might include customer reviews, support tickets, any past interviews. From there, you build the first draft of your roadmap and list of experimentations. Then you share those with your stakeholders, especially in design and development, who can give you feedback on the timelines and the resourcing needed. Then finalize the list of experiments with other business teams and communicate the execution of it. It could be in terms of biweekly updates through email or calls, or you could open a Slack channel to, to communicate progress as well as delays on all your growth projects. One of the most important thing you should do as a growth professional is create a list of prioritized experiments and growth projects. You won't be able to implement and execute on each and every growth lever. So pick the one which is most important to you, your customer, and the business that you support, and figure out the quick wins, test MVPs, and then move on to long-term efforts and projects which will deliver high impact and incremental improvement. Thank you for listening to me. That's a wrap from my side. I would love to hear your feedback, and I can be reached on LinkedIn at Aditi Gupta 02. Thank you and take care.